itself, no horsepower. That's why he's all the way back there. These two guys, these two cars ought to be down at Cape Canaveral getting ready to take off. It's going to be tough coming up through the field. What do you plan on doing?
Just biding our time a little bit, and I guess we get to the front as quick as we can. You know, it's there's some people up there with not too much experience, not taking nothing away from. You know, I remember my first time here. I was a little nervous and starting up in the front, and got caught up in the big wreck on the first or second lap, and just hope everybody stays in line and lets me go to the front.
You've had an incredible record on the super speedways in this ARCA division. Every time we go somewhere, everybody talks Tim Steele, Tim Steele, Tim Steele. And, you know, I know you've had a little bit of trouble here qualifying, but I think you plan on being back up there. When are you going to make that big jump and come out of this series and jump over there and run against guys like Gordon and those guys that just run?
Well, we're looking at doing 5 races this year and coming over there to, we're going to try something with doing like you're doing, you know, the owner-driver type deal. So I was asking you how well that was going.
I hope you got a big old pocketbook for that one, guys. Maybe you'll come out here today, you'll be able to take some money home, and you'll be able to take this thing back and come back to a Winston Cup race before the year's over.
Yeah, we're hoping so. We're looking at doing Texas, Talladega here in July, the Brickyard, and Phoenix is what we're looking at. You know, hopefully everything materializes and get the sponsor to do it, but even if we don't get the sponsor, we've got the commitment out of HSI and SimLink to sponsor us for the full ARCA season and then those 5 races also.
I tell you what, man, you get a sponsor behind this guy, there's nobody tougher. I've seen him win races with kidney stones. So at least he's in top health today. He's going to be ready, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Bill and Kyle. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with former 2-time ARCA Series champion Benny Parsons. And Benny, for many of these drivers whose careers began on the short tracks of the Midwest, this is the culmination of a dream, the fulfillment of a lifelong ambition. 31 years ago, you came through the tunnel, your first time to Daytona. What is the emotion? What are they feeling in the race cars?
Well, first of all, when you get ready to come to Daytona, you're thrilled to death because you've read about it, you've watched it on TV, and finally you're going to be able to race at the Big D, Daytona International Speedway. Thrilled to death. You come through the tunnel, get inside the racetrack, then you're scared to death. I mean, you look around this place, you've never seen anything like it. It's 2.5 miles. You're accustomed to running half-mile racetracks. So it's thrilling, but yet they're scared to death. Now, some laps on the racetrack, some of them take to it, but some of those guys, the newcomers that start the race today, they're still scared to death.
So many mixed emotions down there. So intimidating is this place. And let's move to the newest member of our broadcast team, Ray Dunlap, former media coordinator with ARCA. And Ray, it wasn't the 9 rookies they were worried about here initially. It was some of the veteran drivers that the officials met with early in the week.
Well, that's true, Jerry. Tim Steele, Ron Barfield, Andy Hillenberg, those drivers have a lot of experience here. The rookies, as Benny said, are going to be very, very nervous when the green flag flies. But the drivers that have 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 starts on a super speedway, they were doing some pretty silly things in practice, and I think they've got them calmed down. We'll see when they throw the green flag if everybody's ready to go.
Trying to be careful not to become overconfident. Now, the only serious incident of the week wasn't a mental breakdown. It was a physical breakdown on the car. A cut tire caused a 2-car accident.
Well, that'll happen for sure. You see a shot here of Perry Tripp's number 6 WW Transport Chevrolet. And when the tire went down right in the center of the tri-oval, there was serious damage to his car. But the big loser in this incident was the number 90 of Ed Barrier. Ed had to go to a backup car. They pulled out a car they ran at Pocono.
They're going to fire up the engine in just a moment. They're turning the track around after the running of the Busch Clash, which was just a few minutes ago. It was won by Jeff Gordon. Today's race, 80 laps, 200 miles. We got 9 rookies in the field and only 1 previous winner of this event. This is the 5th of 10 days of coverage on ESPN and ESPN2 of Speed Weeks 97. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Busch Series practice. Second round Winston Cup qualifying on ESPN at 1 o'clock. Then practice for the Goodies Dash and IROC Series from 3 to 5 on the Deuce. Tuesday, Busch and Goodies qualifying at 12:30 on the Deuce. Wednesday, second round Busch Grand National and Dash qualifying, followed by practice. That begins at 1 o'clock. No programming on Thursday. Friday, the Florida Goodies Dash race. race at 11 o'clock here on ESPN. Saturday, we have happy hour, the final practice period before the Daytona 500 at 4:30 here on ESPN. And, of course, NASCAR today, Sunday, at 11:30. The engines have been fired, and we are about ready to go racing at Daytona International Speedway. We'll be right back.
Coverage of the Arca, Bondo, Mar-Hyde Supercar Series, Arca 2.
For Florida State, he's a tough kid.
Quaker State Motor Oil for a clean running engine. By Suzuki. Your Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. And by Monroe Sense Track Shocks and Struts, making the road a safer place. 40 cars have roared to life here at Daytona as we get set for the 34th running of this Arca 200. 57 cars came to qualify. Let's take a look at our Suzuki starting grid. On the pole, you heard him talk to a moment ago about Bill Weber, his first ever pole. Andy Hillenberg in Arca competition. He will lead the charge alongside the young Ron Barfield, who is a protege driving Bill Elliott's Ford Thunderbird. Back in row 2. Bill Baird, a rookie driver. He's driving the car that won this race a year ago that Ken Schrader purchased from James Finch. Mark Thompson, well, he's a veteran, 53 starts, but has never won an Arca race. Back in row 3, there is Blaze Alexander, last year's Arca Rookie of the Year, and beside him, a former Rookie of the Year and a veteran driver, a 4-time winner in Arca, Gary Bradbury.
In row 4, Harris Devane on the inside and Ed Barrier in a backup car. He will move to the back of the field. He qualified on the outside of row 4. In row 5, Frank Kimmel, driving Daytona this year, was not here last year. And Tim Steele, the defending champion, and I would guess the favorite today. Row 6, Perry Tripp. He repaired the car he crashed yesterday. And Mike Giacchetti on the outside of row 6.
Kenny Martin from Brook Park, Ohio, go off in row 7 right beside former Rookie of the Year Dill Whittemore from Seymour, Indiana. Jimmy Kitchens making his first start in the Arca Bondo Mar-Hyde Series, and a veteran from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, Bobby Gerhart in the Truck World Chevrolet. Mark Gibson in a Ford. He's got a good shot today, one of the best cars underneath him, and beside him a Chevrolet of Mark Stahl.
Back to row 10, we're talking about Shane Doles, a young man who had so much trouble a year ago. He has come a long way, and an attorney from Beaumont, Texas, starts alongside him in the car number 11. Back in row 11, Don Pardist. His first ever Arca start for 5 years in the Goodies Dash Series, and beside him the veteran campaigner driving the number 93, Wayne Larson out of Ames, Iowa. Back in row 12, Dale Kreider in the car number 15. 40-year-olds from St. Petersburg, Florida. Beside of him, Rick Heiser out of Tallahassee, Florida, in a Ford Thunderbird.
Row 13, Jimmy McCoon, young man, sprint car, midget driver, and the Wilkinson kid, John Wilkinson, out of Hueytown, Alabama. Row 14, Steve Clark just made a pit stop, as a matter of fact, a moment ago, and Glenn Miller. Row 15, we have Rick Eckert and Bob Strait driving the Bousher car.
That's a brand new ride for Bob Strait in car number 21. Rob Smith lost the hood of his race car in practice, but they've got that repaired. Bill Flowers from Powder Springs, Georgia in number 44.
All right, Ed Curtis and Drew White in row 17. We go back to row 18. There's Tim Moser. We're talking about the driver who had the trouble early in the week driving for David Letterman. David Boggs, former NASCAR Rookie of the Year back in 1970. Back to row 19, David Hall and Rick Shepard. Those are provisional starters. Hall and Shepard, veterans in Arca competition. And rounding out the field, he finished 10th in points last year, Kurt Piercy in row 20, and Gary Weinbroer will start 40th. That's row number 20, Piercy and Weinbroer. And those are the 40 that will start. Those that missed the field here, a lot of cars on hand trying to qualify for this 200-mile, 80-lap event. Take a look. Jimmy Lamoureux, John Strabon, Dale McCoward, Andy Belmont. See Ron Cox, Norm Benning came very close. Craig Root-Wright.
Also Ed Kennedy and Glenn Brewer, Mike Buckley, Philip Young, Brian Kahns, Jim Holbert, Tom Bigelow, 57-year-old modified driver, midget driver, and Randall Ritter.
Our in-car cameras today, we're riding along with the pole sitter, Andy Hillenberg, the Gravy Train Chevrolet. His first ever pole as he's behind that Pontiac Grand Prix safety car. Tim Steele, the reigning series champion, the Arca Bondo Mar-Hyde sponsored in-car camera in his Ford Thunderbird. As you're looking at Tim Steele, let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, Doc, one thing to watch here on Tim Steele's in-car camera is him coming to the front. As Kyle mentioned at the top, two guys that are fast but not necessarily right at the front are the 16 and the 59. Now, Tim Steele and Mark Gibson talked this morning, and I had a conversation with Tim about that. He plans to stay high, and Gibson's job is to catch the 16 and follow the 16 to the front. But Mark Gibson has to get there in a hurry because the 16 cannot wait long, and then Steele will start his march after the leaders. So look for the 16 and the 59 to try and hook up as soon as the green flag comes out and double team their way to the front.
All right, we'll watch for Tim Steele, who starts 10th. Benny, another in car with Rob Smith.
Rob Smith in the car 19, no touch. Also, the car 42 of Dan Pardis, a local young man. Daytona Beach will be on board with him. And car 46, Frank Kimmel, Advanced Auto Parts Chevrolet.
He will start in 9th position. Pontiac safety car gets ready to come off the racetrack. Hank Wetzel, the Arca flagman, will wave the green flag. It is the 45th anniversary for the Toledo, Ohio-based Automobile Racing Club of America. And what a way to begin. 1997, a record purse, a record crowd, and a beautiful day for racing here at Daytona Beach, Florida. Glad to have you with us for our live coverage of the 34th running of the Arca 200. Pace car is pulled away. It is Hillenberg and Barfield, two impressive young drivers who will lead them down to the green. One car slowing. That is Perry Tripp. He was one of the cars that was involved in an accident yesterday. Remember, that car had to be totally rebuilt. He started in his normal starting spot of 11th, but the car obviously not nearly as good as it would be. And Perry wisely keeping the car down off the racetrack and will make his way to pit road.
Back to the front, we see that Barfield has taken the lead in the 9-4 car, followed by Mark Thompson, the black 66, and the pole sitter, Andy Hillenberg, fighting for his life and losing spots coming off turn 4.
He was door-to-door with the car number 80 of Gary Bradbury. Now Bradbury takes a 3rd spot away, and he is side-by-side. Look at Tim Steele in 4th position. Steele was 10th a lap ago. He has passed 6 cars and is making another challenge. That is Steele in the car number 16, the HS Dye Ford Thunderbird. You heard him, Bill Weber, tell you that they had an engine problem during qualifying, put another early Elliott motor. Even though he did qualify in 10th position, he only had 6 cylinders when he qualified in his V8.
Blaze Alexander's got to use a lot of patience right here, guys, as he's right behind the number 52 car. And on the outside, it's Dill Whittemore. But I think he's doing the right thing. Get in line and see what's going to happen up front.
They are single file, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and now a challenge on the inside of Bradbury. That looks to be Tim Steele. It is the car number 16, and he will take the 3rd spot away. So make that 7 position. Steele has gained in 2 laps. Barfield, your leader, with Mark Thompson running 2nd.
33 car, the red white car we saw, Harris Devane. We're riding along with Tim Steele now. He's worked his way already up to 3rd spot as he closes right on the back bumper of Thompson.
Those 15 cars in your picture right there have begun to break away from the rest of the pack. There is Baird, who's a rookie driver, Bill Baird, the 52 car. And, of course, he qualified 3rd but has no experience on a super speedway. Although the race car owned by Kenny Schrader is fast, Baird knows he needs to learn, and he will get back and follow some of the veteran drivers. Falls in behind Jimmy Kitchens, a 47 car.
Never see Frank Kimmel in the 46 car.
Sure, Baird's getting some coaching right now from Kenny Schrader.
Tim Steele takes a look on the inside of Thompson. Bradbury, the 80 car, going with them. Tim Steele, if he moves up, he's going to be able to get in there. And he's going up. He's going for the lead. So Tim Steele, the 16 car, in the lead already.
Why stop at 2nd place, Benny, when he can go ahead and pass Barfield?
Exactly.
Head of steam there. He will slide up in front of Barfield, and now Bradbury, will he get back in line? No, he's going to stay on the bottom of the racetrack and try Barfield himself. Now he thinks a little better of it.
Hillenberg back in the mix now, moving back up to 4th place as that drafting line starts to settle down.
The blue car on the outside is Mike Giacchetti. There's the 17.
Single file, the front 4. As they break away, they double file back for 5th spot. Harris Devane, the car number 33, and Mike Cicchetti. Now looking out the back of the gravy train Chevy Monte Carlo of Andy Hillenberg. You see he is looking back at Mark Thompson in the 66 car, the Ford Thunderbird. Hillenberg in 5th position. This is an 80-lap race, $189,000 up for grabs. 80 laps on this 2.5-mile racetrack is 200 miles.
We got about 16 cars in that front pack, guys, and they're really sorting it out a little bit. Frank Kimmel now has made a move, got past Bobby Gerhardt. He's again behind the number 52 of Bill Baird there, but he's a little bit back further in that pack. Those front 7 or 8 cars seem to be running very close together.
Those 9 cars there, they're trying to sort of break away from the rest to make that big pack of 15 now 2 packs. Steele is the leader, and Barfield runs second, but one guy has already looked like he may have to call it a day, right, Kyle Petty?
Yeah, I'm here with Greg Tripp. He said he hit the wall yesterday, and, you know, he had some trouble. You put this thing back together. What seems to be the problem now?
You know, yesterday we hit the wall real hard and just knocked everything out on it. And the guys worked real hard to get it back together. We were hopeful that it would run right. But as soon as I took the green flag, I knew we had some problems when it was going back and forth 2 lanes on the track. There's no need to stay out there.
Well, this is a big old place, but there's not enough room if you can't go straight. Good job, man.
All right, there are the speeds, Benny, and they're the last lap. The speed's coming up a little bit. Those are partial segment speeds, so we'll give you a full lap speed here in a couple laps to show you that they qualified at 185 miles an hour. There was a little error there in the computer readout, so we'll check those speeds when they come by next time. 74 laps. Take a look at the challenge here. They go 3 wide, and Hillenberg on the bottom of the racetrack. It was a Bradbury sandwich. Gary Bradbury in the 80 car moves back, and now they are still side by side. Hillenberg is the 1 car, and of course the 94 is Barfield.
Hillenberg had worked his way back to about 5th or 6th spot. Now he's trying. Wow. A long ways back to some other cars. There's 3 or 4 more, and there's got to be another pack like this somewhere around the racetrack.
Well, these 12 or 14 cars are settled. Well, you can't call it settled down. They're still side by side with exciting action. We've got a lot of laps to go as Steele hangs on. Barfield in 2nd. Hillenberg is 3rd. Then a scramble back for 4th spot as Bradbury is on the bottom of the racetrack. There is Mark Gibson, the 59 car. He is from Daytona Beach, Florida, and boy, would he love to win this one. He is right behind the Mark Thompson machine. 73 laps to go. We are in the early laps here of the 34th running of the Arca 200 with Tim Steele being shown as our leader. We'll be right back. Stay with us. International Speedway here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Beautiful afternoon. We kick off our coverage of Arca competition for 1997 with their season opener, the Arca 200.
And that's Tim Steele, and no, he is not leading. He was when we went to commercial break, but now he is back in 4th spot. There we see Mark Gibson, the 59 car, in 3rd. The lead of the race right now is Barfield in the 94, and Thompson is in fact the 2nd place car. There we see 1, 2, 3, 4.
As you watch Mark Thompson pull to the inside to make a run at Barfield, they are side by side. He will make that pass or try to make that pass, and whoa, Barfield backs out of it, sees that Thompson almost pulled up, and now we'll see if Mark Gibson, the 3rd car you were talking about, Benny, tries to make a move.
Oh, Andy, be careful, Hillenberg.
Just goes to show you guys just how quickly the draft can change things here. And look, there goes Blaze Alexander shooting onto the inside of Tim Steele.
Well, let's check in the Tim Steele pits. Bill Weber, is there a problem with Steele?
Clearly a problem with his car. He has talked to his crew, but his crew chief, Tom Sokolowski, says he can't understand it. He just went into the wall. He just crashed, guys. Back up to you.
He hit Jimmy Kitchens. The car got high. Kitchens was caught in the middle, and they saw those cars contact. Great camera work off that roof cam. He bounced off the Kitchens car, tagged the outside wall, and once again, Daytona is the Achilles heel for this driver who has 18 victories in Arca, but has never won here. He will bring out the first caution flag of the day. As they come back to the line, it looks like Mark Thompson has assumed the lead. Thompson in the black Ford, number 66. He comes through the short chute. So it will be Thompson, then Barfield, then Hillenberg, and Blaze Alexander in that order. So lap number 12, the first caution flag of the day. And there's the young man who unfortunately was the one that brought out the yellow.
Tim Steele. We'll watch as the cars go down in turn 1. Up at the top of the screen, there's Kitchens on the inside, the blue car, and Steele, oh, they're going 4 abreast. Makes contact with Kitchens as Gibson starts to go around the 4 car of David Boggs, and they made it absolutely 4 abreast. Watch this from the in car. Kitchens did a fabulous job not to crash in front of the entire field because he made pretty good contact with the retaining wall as well.
And the Jimmy Kitchens defense, he was moving up to get away from the Mark Gibson car that was passing the Boggs machine. So first caution of the day. There's the man on pit road. We'll come back and find out how badly he's damaged after this.
Well, Jimmy Kitchens and Tim Steele are both here on pit road. The 16 has shut off the engine. They're talking to Steele, who sits in the car and has been complaining of apparently some rib pain. The hood goes up. Meanwhile, they work on the right side of the 47 car, Kitchens' car. He also sits on pit road, pulling away the sheet metal, changing right side tires. Now they come around to the left side, give the sheet metal a tug there. Meanwhile, the 16 car continues to sit here on pit road. Steele has his helmet off. He's removing his earplugs. The day apparently over for Tim Steele, and the Daytona Hex continues as he climbs from his car here on pit road. They've already lost 1 lap, and now Tim is coming over to the wall. He's talking to Jimmy Kitchens. He didn't see the whole thing. Obviously, clearly upset. He sits here on the wall. Tim, you okay?
I don't know. I feel like it might have broke a couple ribs. It's pretty sore. That's one of the hardest licks I've ever taken. I don't know what these guys are doing right now. Getting a little wild too early in the race.
Yeah, there is some traffic. Obviously, from your view, you can't see the whole thing, but there was some traffic, and you got caught up in it, and Kitchens ran into you.
Yeah, it was clearly, and I'm sure the replay shows what happened. You know, it just sucks. We spent since October, November getting ready for this race. And man, we had a good car, and it just feel bad for the team and everybody. It's just one of those things. That's racing, I guess they say.
Was your motor okay?
Thought we were picking up a miss in the motor, but as long as I stayed drafting with those guys, you know, we might have been able to get that fixed. And it was just one of those things. What do you do?
You've got some rib pain, but how disappointed are you emotionally? This is the only one you've never been able to grab.
Yeah, it is. You know, I was hoping to get this out of the way this year and be able to go on, but it's not going to happen this year unless a miracle happens in our favor, which I don't see that happening. You know, these guys just got to watch what they're doing, and they're not on a quarter mile.
Series champ out of the race, sitting on the wall to Kyle Petty.
But Tim Moser just stops in his pit. He's been dropping pretty bad, and you know, it's just one of those deals where he's had trouble earlier in the week, and his trouble continues. He thinks he's lost a cylinder. You can see the guys under the hood here. They're trying to see if there's a cold plug wire or something, trying to see if maybe by some stroke of luck that one of them came off and they can just slap it back on. So we'll have to follow this story a little bit to see if they get it fixed, guys.
All right, Kyle and Bill, thank you. Let's show you what happened again. Lap number 12, entering turn 1, Benny, and it looked like that Kitchens had nowhere to go.
He didn't. Right at the top of the screen, the blue car and the red car. They're side by side. There's 59 Gibson. He moves up the racetrack. That's David Boggs. And all of a sudden, they're 4 abreast. And there just is not room for cars 4 abreast around this racetrack. And the guy on the outside has no choice but to bang the wall, as Tim Steele did.
Take a look at the in-car here, Benny, and I think you can see that just a lot of action happened very quickly.
I mean, he's riding along. Tim Steele is riding along at 185 to 190 miles an hour and just abruptly swerves into the wall. So you can imagine how his rib cage is hurting.
And there's a brace on the right side of it. You'll see him grab his ribs over there in a moment. Grab those right ribs and pull down on his belts.
That right there, he's taking his hand and holding his ribs.
And trying to get a deep breath. We are told from Jimmy Kitchens' crew that their damage is purely cosmetic. They will try to get back in the race. We will come back to Daytona after this.
Let me tell you something about the sport, NASCAR.
Team, that first caution lasting 4 laps, and once again up front, Mark Thompson trying to hang on, but he's got a gaggle of cars back behind him that are making a challenge for the second spot. There is Ron Barfield, Behind him, the car number 1 of Andy Hillenberg.
Car on the inside, Bobby Gerhardt is a lap down. I don't know how Bobby managed to do that because he normally runs pretty well.
Bobby made an unscheduled pit stop, but apparently didn't get out of pits. They had problems on pit road. Going to show you one car that's back in the pack. There's the 00 Rick Eckert. 99 of Heiser. There's Dale Kreider's car number 15.
Ever see Ed Berry in the 90 car, the backup car, followed by Shane Doles in the 97. Where's Shane going? Oh, a crash. I see why where he's going. That's Blaze Alexander in the 26 car. And Mark Thompson, the leader of the race, is spinning down through the grass.
That is Thompson spinning in the grass just past the Daytona. That's Blaze Alexander there in the Lisa Express machine. He's last year's Rookie of the Year, but down below him, about 100 yards or so, Thompson has gotten his car woed, and he has spun it back around. There is Mark Thompson, who was the leader, and he said, I've always had a jinx at Daytona, and maybe this year I'll get my win. And just like Tim Steele, it's not starting out very well for Thompson. They try to pull some of the sheet metal away. And there is Blaze with his window net down. Now, the Arca officials tell the drivers that if you're in an accident and you're okay, put your window net down. That'll be the signal to the safety crews that they can go to attend to other drivers first. That's exactly the first thing that Blaze did, is put the window net down. And he's okay, but the front of his car is crushed. Take a look at what happened.
The cars are coming off the corner. Thompson was not leading the race. He's back in 4th spot, it looks like. So Thompson makes contact with, is that Gerhardt?
No, that's Blaze.
That's Alexander.
Alexander was 3rd, Benny, and the 66 car and the 26 made contact there. But see, he hit the pit gate there.
And the other cars just start trying to avoid.
Look at some of the evasive moves here. Watch Blaze's car come right across in front of 3 cars, and they make a move to miss him. Someone did a heck of a job driving to get by.
That's Frank Kimmel there in the red car.
In the 46 car, he did a heck of a job, or he would have T-boned Blaze Alexander.
Mark Stahl was to the inside there, Jerry, also with a good move. But I think you'll see on this replay, once again, they hit the gate where you go out of the track when you leave the pits, and I think that's what caused a lot of the damage to the 26 car.
Here's Frank Kimmel, the fellow that almost was in the accident. He follows Mark Stahl, and right there, the 26 car of Alexander spins across the racetrack in front of him. Once again, this is how it starts. Thompson and the 26 made contact. The roof flaps come up, keep both cars on the racetrack, their wheels on the ground, which is always good. And there we see Kimmel going by with several other cars.
Boy, Gary Bradbury did a nice job. He got on the brakes at the very beginning of that shot. He jammed on the brakes and kept the car from spinning, as there is Blaze Alexander walking across last year's STP Prestone Rookie of the Year in this competition. So the second caution flag of the day comes out on lap 18 after the first caution flag was out for 4 laps. 2 cars involved. We'll come back and talk to the drivers after this. Stay with us. It's Alexander. He has climbed from his car, and our Kyle Petty has caught up with him.
Well, definitely not a way to start your second full season in the Arca division. Pretty wild ride out there. What happened?
I don't know. We got on the restart, got down under that 66, and I came up on the straightaway, and he got in the back of me a little bit and turned me sideways, and I thought I was going to get saved, but got into the wall, and it's pretty much crunched up the front of the car. I don't think we'll get back out, but hard way to start off the new season. This is the way I ended. I keep talking to you guys on crash interviews, but we got Lisa Express and Sunoco. We're going to run another full season. Hopefully our luck will turn around. And I just want to say hi to my mom. She's watching. This is why she ain't here, because I crash all the time.
No, you better say hi to your mom. She'll look after you, man. Take care.
Well, fortunately, 20-year-old Blaze Alexander can walk away after a very grinding crash here in the Tri-Oval. Now, why can these drivers walk away? Here's Bill Weber with a comment on safety in one of our ESPN Track Facts.
Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil for a clean running engine.
Well, the window net in these race cars is the most overlooked piece of safety equipment. it serves two purposes. One, obviously, to keep the driver in the car. The second is to keep debris out. Now, last year at Atlanta in the Arca race, we saw a horrific crash. And because of the violent nature of that crash, the window net failed to do its job completely. So in order to back up the window net, what you're going to start seeing are these arm restraints. In fact, they're being worn today by Mike Cicchetti. And here's how these work. Obviously, you slide them onto each arm, one on your right, one on your left. Then these two loops hook into the 5-point harness. And then when you latch the harness, these loops are secured significantly, so your arms have a limited range of motion. Now you have a greater range of motion for your right arm, so you can signal to other drivers. But your left arm is kept very tight. Really, the only place it can go other than the steering wheel if you're in a crash is hit you in the nose. But hopefully you're wearing a helmet and that won't happen. Arm restraints. I picked these up at the Simpson trailer in the Winston Cup garage. Walked through the Arca trailer. I was stopped by 4 drivers that wanted to see them, wanted to know how they look, how they worked, and they think they'll be adding them to their safety arsenal. Dr. Punch?
All right, certainly they will help you. Bill Simpson, always a leader when it comes to safety, but would they have made a difference in this one? Let's take a look and see. Right along with the in-car camera, the roof cam of Rob Smith in the car number 19. His no-touch Ford Thunderbird. We'll see what view he had of this accident.
This is Dan Partis we're riding along with, the 42 car. And wow, just barely missed the run in the back of Harris Devane. And once again, right there we see the damage. The crash has already started. And right there we see that, like Ray was talking about, that Blaze Alexander hit the wall where the gate, the opening where the cars go in the inside into the infield.
All right, the green being redisplayed. Lap number 22, the second caution flag for 4 laps as they will come down, and Ron Barfield being shown as a leader, driving a car owned by Bill Elliott. In this race a year ago, it was Barfield's first ever super speedway start, as well as his first Arca start. He had a top 5 finish, finishing in 5th position. Andy Hillenberg behind him in the car number 1. Back in 3rd spot, that looks to be the Mark Gibson car. Car number 90 up to 14th position. What a run for Ed Barrier. There's the car number 90, white with red numbers on the side. Ed Barrier out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, an ADT mean green Ford Thunderbird.
Jerry, he's not supposed to be able to do that. He's driving a Pocono car here at Daytona. He shouldn't be that fast, but he's sure doing a nice job.
He passed Wilkinson. That's John Wilkinson in the 58. He passed him going in 3, but then running behind Gary Weinbroer. Had to get off the gas, and Wilkinson back by him on the outside.
Take a look from the Budweiser blimp. Bud 1 airship high above the racetrack. Meanwhile, I think Bill is caught up with another driver who's had a troubled day.
And Mark Thompson out of the car, done for the day. What happened?
I guess on the restart, we either dropped a cylinder, fouled a plug, just didn't come up to speed on the back straight. You know, the train kind of came around me, and Blaze didn't quite have enough room. You know, he coming off before, he just closed right up into the, he actually closed up about an inch in front of me. But I had all that momentum coming off the corner, and he was a little bit slower, and I bumped him in the rear. Things go.
There was some discussion about possibly penalizing you or holding you for a lap.
Well, you know, they said that I passed the pace car, but, you know, I sort of passed the pace car and backed up, and then came into pit lane, and they said they were going to penalize me 2 laps. And the front end was wobbling on the back straight, so I've obviously got a tie rod or something like that bent. So I just said, you know, that's enough for the day.
Hey, Mark,
we had the best car. I'll have to see, you know, whether maybe it's a foul plug or gone cylinder or what.
Okay, Mark Thompson out of the race. Mark Stahl on the move.
Exactly, Bill. He is in 7th position. The car number 32 we're talking about, Mark Stahl. That's exactly where he finished the Arca 200 here a year ago. His best super speedway finish for the Savannah, Georgia driver.
There you see the scoring pylon on the left side of the screen. That's Barfield in 94, Hillenberg in 1, Gibson 59, Bradbury in 80, Whittemore in 56. The 52 car is Bill Baird, 32, Mark Stahl.
Guys, Mark Stahl has a good record here at Daytona. Actually, it's a wonderful record. He's completed 100% of the laps in the 3 races that he's run here.
His plans for 1997, he'll run the Southern Super Speedways because his sponsor, Autobell Car Washes, is based in the South. So he's going to be able to cover the area that his sponsor can get some exposure. Let's check in with Kyle Petty.
Another interesting fact about Mark Stahl's car today, he's running the number 64 on a small decal on the side of his car. That's in memory of the Winston Cup pace car driver, Elmo Langley, who died last year. Mark, when he first came back here from, moved back east from California, he worked for Elmo. And Elmo helped him a lot through the years. Would help him at some of the super speedways and help him at some of the other places, talk about shocks and tires and things. So it's a tribute from Mark Stahl to Elmo Langley, guys.
Well, indeed, we will all miss Elmo Langley, and no one can ever replace Elmo, but Buster Alton has been named the pace car driver for NASCAR for 1997. There's a look at Gary Bradbury in the car number 80. Dill Whittemore behind him in the 56. The 52 car of Bill Baird, the Kenny Schrader-owned machine. They are 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And Mark Stahl is closed up on the back bumper. So there's the first 7 cars. And we see that Mark Stahl is almost 1.5 seconds behind the leader. And Frank Kimmel is a little over 4.5 seconds behind the leader.
Not much distance there, though, between Andy Hillenburg and Ron Barfield, the leader. Hillenburg tucked right under the back of that New Holland Ford.
Well, once you get past that pack, it's a day's ride to the next pack back there. There they come out of turn 2 down the 3,000-foot back straightaway. Mark Gibson there. There's the Danny Pardis, the 46 of Kimmel, 33 Harris Devane.
And that's Mike Giacchetti, the 17 car they're all going by. They're riding along now with Frank Kimmel.
14 laps away from the halfway point. 80 laps this Arca 200. Over $185,000 up for grabs, almost 190 to be exact here in this race. Record purse. And John Graham, the president of Daytona International Speedway, told me this morning they were expecting a record crowd. Largest crowd ever to watch an ARCA event. Last year they had over 85,000 here. And here is the Danny Pardis car number 42. And look where he has come from. He started back in 21st spot, Benny.
And worked his way steadily up till now. We see him up in 8th spot. See the hood moving up and down a little bit right in the center. So the air cleaner evidently is not up against the air cleaner normally.
You know, guys, we talk about all these different drivers and where they come from. Danny Pardis started racing when he was 12 years old on motorcycles, and he's in a car that they purchased from Kenny Schrader. So he and Bill Baird kind of in an equal equipment, both of them getting a brand new race car for 1997.
Look at Harris Devane's car number 33. That's the red car. That'll be the 4th car in your screen. Red in the front and white in the back. As the Bud 1 airship above you gives you a good perspective of where these cars are on the racetrack. About 2 car lengths separating each one of them. And Mike Giacchetti is the blue car to the right side of your screen. Then Devane in front of him. Then Frank Kimmel.
Danny Pardis, and I think it's Bobby Gearhart, a lap car that is in front of them.
That is Gearhart, who was a lap down. And we're going to pull out and show you the interval up to the lead pack. Up to where Ron Barfield and company are. Barfield and Hillenburg, there they are. There's the big Daytona Tri-Oval. About a third of a lap up to where Barfield leads them in his Ford Thunderbird. That 3rd place car is Mark Gibson. There's the front 3. And Mark Gibson, a 1975 graduate of Mainland High School. And Mainland High School, folks, for you folks that haven't been to Daytona Beach, is about an 8-iron shot from turn 4. This young man has never won an ARCA event in over 100 starts, and he runs 3rd here at Daytona. As we approach the halfway point, 29 of 80 laps are complete. It is Barfield leading Hillenburg, Gibson, Bradbury, and Whittemore in the top 5. We'll be right back.
Suzuki Katana riders have a single-minded focus. They love all things twisty.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. We're presenting live today the Arca Bondo Mar-Hyde 200 as part of our continuing coverage of Speed Weeks 97. And we are just 8 laps until the halfway point. Early in the race, well, Mark Thompson and Tim Steele were contenders, but they're both out of the race because of a crash. We've had 2 yellows so far. Blaze Alexander, also a victim of a crash. On the racetrack, it's Ron Barfield leading with Andy Hillenberg running second, and basically a 3-car breakaway with Mark Gibson also included in the trio. Let's go back to the booth and Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Bob. These beautiful shots from high above Daytona International Speedway brought to you by Bud One Airship. The Bud One Airship, that's probably the best seat in the house, although there aren't any bad seats here at Daytona, but what a beautiful day. And high above this racetrack, there are the shots above the racetrack, Benny, and that guy flying the Bud One Airship, that captain up there, has a great view.
He does. They're halfway down the backstretch here at the Daytona International Speedway. That's the leader. The blue and white car is Barfield. The red car is Andy Hillenberg, and 59, the red and white car, Mark Gibson. Low through 3 and 4. The cars will exit off turn 4, hit the bump, it's a tunnel that the traffic goes under the racetrack into the infield. They'll duck low at the tri-oval and make this as straight as possible. They'll come back out against the retaining wall and head down in turn 1. And trying to go by the traffic on the outside. Jimmy McCoon in the 88 car on the inside, and they're closing in fast on Gary Weinberg.
Well, I wonder why Andy Hillenberg is content to sit and ride behind Ron Barfield. Now, maybe he won't sit and ride. He moves to the inside. He has a little bit of drafting help, and Bill Weber, as Hillenberg makes the move, let's check in with you.
He's not supposed to be making that move, Jerry, because I just talked to his crew, and crew chief Johnny Allen told me the car runs too cool when it's in front. They don't have enough tape on the nose, so Andy's supposed to be following instead of leading. But maybe somebody was holding him up. Anyway, look for these 3 guys, the 1, the 59, and the 94 as they sweep toward turn 1 to pit together at any time. Fuel window here around 45 laps, maybe to 50, but they will look to pit together, so they'll have partners when they go back out on the track.
All right, that's the story there as he made the move, and there's the car number 80 of Gary Bradbury and Dill Whittemore. They are in the 4th and 5th place positions. Remember, the halfway point is 40 laps, 40 of the 80. We talked about our fuel window. We'll look at our race analysis and show you that the fuel window was expected to be around laps 44 to 52. There's the purse, the pole speed, 185.166. The track record for this race for 200 miles set by Jack Boucher way back in 1966.
We won't have to worry about breaking that record today. Here's Frank Kimmel, and there we see Ed Barrier, Bob Strait in the 21 car, and
Rob Smith right behind him, Benny. Rob told me right before the race went green, he's going to try to get behind Bob Strait and get some drafting experience here. Said he thinks his car may be a little bit faster than 21, but he's going to learn from Bob Strait, hang on there behind and see what he does.
There's Shane Doles, the 4th car in line. Man, these guys got a pretty good race going.
These guys are 13th, 14th, and 15th. The 58 car has been black flagged. That's the youngster from Hewington, Alabama, John Wilkinson III, the Ellis Equipment Company Chevrolet. He has come on the pit road, and apparently they had a problem with the car smoking, and the Arca officials brought him in as you watch this battle here, nose to tail. Ed Barrier is the son of Max Barrier, a long-time modified hot shoe in the Carolinas and Virginia and South Carolina. And in the early years, there were none better than Max on the short tracks, and Ed Barrier has just not been able to get a break, but maybe this run today will help him some.
Riding along with Rob Smith, the 19 car, the no-touch onboard camera. Started 31st and worked his way up to the 15th spot, so gained 16 spots as Rob Smith.
You know, folks, we've made reference to Bob Strait driving that car number 21. They got Pro Bull Riders as associate sponsors and Zinser Paints on the hood. Bob Strait has a lot of wins in Arca. He's got 113 starts and been to victory lane 13 times, so he knows how to get the job done.
There again is the look of that pack. Ed Barrier in the car number 90. There is the Jack Boucher on car number 21 of Bob Strait. Rob Smith in the car number 19. Remember, that is not Bobby Boucher. Bobby Boucher, Jack Boucher's son, had driven that car since 1988. But this year he's not in the car. They are side by side back behind this pack. Benny?
Oh, there's a group of cars. It's Larson in the 93. 50 is Kenny Martin. Front first time ever at the Daytona International Speedway in that red and white number 50. Oh, he's getting an education.
Boy, he went
there's no college you can go to and get this education. Trust me.
There's the car number 50 you're talking about. He went from go-karts to Legends cars to a super speedway stock car. Talk about a leap of faith.
Bob Strait is in the 21, but Bob Schacht is the crew chief of the number 50 there. And Bob Schacht, of course, a longtime veteran in Arca, and he's talking on the radio telling Kenny Martin where to duck in, where to duck out, and I think that'll help him a great deal.
Plus the fact that Bob Schacht has to fix it if he bends it. So he's telling him, he's talking to him every time he can catch his breath.
Be careful, Kenny. I think he heard that on the radio a few times.
Okay, we are just past the halfway point. 41 laps. Or we have come up on the halfway point, I should say. Next time by, we will be halfway here in the Arca 200. Andy Hillenburg being shown as the leader. Mark Gibson, the Daytona Beach native, former Rookie of the Year back in 1986, runs in second spot. Ron Barfield is third.
Hillenburg will pick up $1,000 from Auto Value Parts stores for leading that halfway point.
All right, we have 40 down and 40 to go here at Daytona.
We're here at Daytona, USA. Cool attraction, huh?
My car's in Victory Lane.
Yeah, nothing beats this.
You're not a lady.
I can squeeze through there.
Oh, no.
He's such a kid.
Let's go. The movie star.
Handsome fella, huh?
I just want a little elbow ring.
How much love do you need? Oh, come on. Give us a ring now.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, Andy Hillenburg is our leader, but a moment ago, a scary moment as a car in the top 10 was coming into the pits. The caution has come out, and there is Rob Smith's car number 19, the Stratus Boats machine. He was coming as another car spins. The 42 car, 47, I should say, Jimmy Kitchens, his car spins coming off turn 2, comes to rest on the apron back there at the apex of Lake Lloyd. He gets the car refired. So just that quickly, we had the third caution flag of the day. And Benny, I started to say a moment ago, Rob Smith's car was trying to make a pit stop in front of the Ed Barrier machine, and he came on the pit road and lost it.
Yeah, he just really came on pit road way, way, way too fast. I don't know if he ran out of fuel. I mean, the car has been sitting there for a couple of... There we see him trying to start the car. It's been sitting there for some time. I don't know. He might have run out of fuel. Here, we'll watch just a moment ago. This happened a couple of laps ago. There's Kitchens in... Oh, this is what happened just now. There's Kitchens in 47.
And the caution is out at this point, Benny. They've already waved the yellow as Kitchens spins.
You got to wonder if maybe he didn't cut a tire. It looked like, no, there was no contact, and he keeps the car. He turns the wheels right as the car comes across the racetrack.
I'm not sure that Rob Smith was trying to pit, Benny. I think he was trying to get around the number 90 of Ed Barrier, who had to come into the pits.
The 19 car, the black car, there we see the 90 car is coming in the pit road. He started down pit road, and Rob Smith, the black car, all of a sudden, we had his radio on, and he said, I'm coming in, and we see he almost was running the back by Larson, and he's coming down, and we see that the 90 car Barrier has slowed dramatically to make an entrance pit road, and Rob Smith is still flying on down the racetrack.
All right, look from the roof camera here, so you can see what happens.
This is Rob Smith. We're riding along with him, on board with him, as he will go on pit road.
Now remember, Benny, there are two cars to the outside of number 19, and I think his spotter might have said, don't go high, don't go high.
That's the white car Barrier in front of him.
Look, I mean, he just blows by Barrier. Now watch this, folks. He gets on pit road, and he's still running about 100 miles an hour. He's got to stop about right there.
See his pit board? He just slides right through his pit board, knocked the board away, and there's Barrier's car coming to rest, and Smith's car comes back into the grass. We are told another car against the wall. That's the car number 50 of Kenny Martin, another one of the rookies here under caution. His car is looped around and come into contact backwards.
He's not going the right way either. I mean, and we see that the right front there's some heavy damage to that car because the right front.
Okay, watch right side of your frame. Let's see if we can see what happened to Kenny Martin's car number 50. Here it comes.
Oh, he was just flying. And he ran up on all this traffic. He was running way too fast, and he ran up on the traffic and slammed on the brakes.
He had been back. The car number 50 was being shown back in the back. He's still on the lead lap. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Gravy train pulls into the station. First thing they do is tape up the front. He did go around Barfield because Barfield was going too slow. They discussed 2 tires or no tires. This will be fuel only. This will be enough to get him to the end. Chocolate Myers here from the 3 Winston Cup team, and Andy Hillenberg in rapid fashion back out on the track.
Wow, no tires. That's really...
You know, a couple of years ago, a couple of cars have won this race in the last 2 years. At least 2 cars have won it without a tire change.
We see Bill Baird. They're changing 4 tires, making the chassis adjustment on the 52 car, the Speedy Pop. Fastest popcorn in the world, he said. There we see Dan Pardis going back on the racetrack, along with 21 car, Bob Strait.
Well, we're working the 3rd caution flag today, which came out on lap 43 with a spin of Rob Smith on pit road. Back with more green flag racing in a moment.
When people hear the Hendrick Motorsports team switched to Quaker State last year, they'll probably think Quaker State wrote us a big check. Well, that's not how it happened. First, it had to pass our camshaft test.
Martin being pushed back to the garage area. The rookie driver driving for Bob Shack was being shown on the lead lap. We saw the incident a moment ago where he just came up on some slower traffic under caution and looped the car around and tagged the wall.
There we see riding along with Frank Kimmel, Advanced Auto Parts Chevrolet. This is the car that Bob Hill drove here last year in this event. Also Dan Pardis, we have on board with him. This is Jim Bob Gardner, Jim and Judy Gardner out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Their car. Bill Weber.
Okay, Benny, last round of pit stops, we saw Andy Hillenberg went without tires. Well, several guys took tires. 4 for Ron Barfield and 4 for Mark Gibson as well. 4 on the 52 car and 2 on the 80 car. So that's the tire situation right now. And I think I said 4 on the 59. He took 2 right side tires for Mark Gibson. Remember, none for the race leader, Andy Hillenberg. Kyle.
Harris Devane in the 33 changed 4 tires. He's the only guy up on my end of pit road that changed 4 tires. The 42 car changed just right side tires. The 97 car changed just right side tires. Mark Stahl changed no tires, but he made a chassis adjustment. And it wasn't just a chassis adjustment. He lowered the rear of the car to get the spoiler out of the air a little bit. So hopefully they won't break the draft from him like they did last time.
All right, adjustments being made, and if you wonder why those are so important, they only really need 1 pit stop here for fuel, and they've made it for fuel, and they've made their decisions. Andy Hillenberg electing to go with no tire changes. Jeff Purvis won this race a year ago, and if I remember correctly, he did not change tires either, driving for James Finch. We restart on lap 49. 31 laps remain here in the inaugural Arca event for 1997. 34th running here at Daytona.
Jerry, Mark Thompson told me in practice he got about 100 laps on 1 set of tires. Now, I don't know if that'll be as competitive for Andy Hillenberg with Mark Gibson and Ron Barfield having fresh ones. We'll have to wait and see.
You heard Bill Weber tell you that Gibson took on 2 and Barfield took on 4. As you look at our top 10 there on the left side of your screen, Hillenberg, Gibson, and Barfield.
We'll find out right now. If they just blow by Andy Hillenberg.
Talking to their spotters. We're going to try to break away. I don't know if they'll listen or not, but we're trying, buddy.
I guess that's Hillenberg.
That's all right. This baby's a whistling Dixie.
This baby's whistling Dixie.
Got to feel good when you're out front, doesn't it, Benny?
Boy, Andy.
And his spotters saying that we're going to talk to the spotters on the 59 and 94, and if they'll listen and tuck up behind you, we'll pull away from the rest of those guys, and the 3 of us will settle it. As Bill Weber caught up with Mike Cicchetti, who had been shown on the lead lap, Bill.
And Mike was doing fine, so you came in and pitted, and then what happened?
Well, we dumped the clutch and something let go in the rear end. We broke a ring and pinion or an axle. We're not quite sure. The boys are going to go take a look at it and see if we can get back out. But, hey, we're all in one piece. I got a good education. Learned a lot in that draft, and I'm just happy to be here at Daytona. I'd like to say hi to my son Michael and my daughter Ashley up in Clayton. Hope they're watching. And my grandmother, tell her that I love her and hope she gets to feeling better. At least we didn't get to use these arm restraints. That was one good thing that happened today. Hopefully we'll come back next year with what we learned and be right there.
All right,
right
Mike,
there. Victory lane.
Exactly. Mike Cicchetti excited about saying hello to the folks. Had a good run going. 30 laps to go. Our AutoZone race recap. With 30 to go here, as you watch Mark Stahl make a move, our leader is Andy Hillenberg, has led 14 of the 48 laps thus far. There have been 6 lead changes, 3 caution flags for a total of 13 laps. That's brought the average speed down to 131.828 miles per hour. Our leaders are Ron Barfield, the number of laps he's led, 23. Hillenberg, 14. Thompson and Tim Steele. And the cars that are out of race, you see Perry Tripp, Glenn Miller, Tim Steele, the reigning series champion who brought the first caution flag, Blaze Alexander, who brought the second caution flag, and Mark Thompson, who was involved with Blaze in that second caution.
Guys, you're looking there at the number 32 car of Mark Stahl, and Kyle told us that during that pit stop they dropped the rear end of that race car. Apparently it's helped him a whole bunch because he's moved right up on the back of Gary Bradbury.
These the front 3 here, the first, second, and third. Hillenberg, Gibson, and Barfield. Chevrolet and 2 Ford Thunderbirds. Bradbury being shown in 4th position. Mark Stahl, the car that you heard they made an adjustment on, in 5th spot.
She's on board with her leader, Andy Hillenberg. And this is the gravy train. If they can take this to the victory lane, do some heavy eating at the trough tonight, I'm telling you.
The thing about it is, Benny, he knows the way to get there.
Here's Frank Kimmel making a move on the inside of Ed Barrier. That's Barrier's car number 90. And the car number 90 is a lap down. He was running so well. There are only 16 cars on the lead lap. There's a look at those cars. He pitted for gas under the green, we are being told, so he is now being shown in 17th position.
Well, he pitted just before Rob Smith. He and Rob Smith pitted at the same time, and that was on the green flag. And Rob spun in the grass, and they had to throw the caution flag. And there we see Kimmel going by the 21 car of Bob Strait. Well, he and several others, as a matter of fact, are going by Strait. There's Frank. Shane Doles in 97.
Strait was leading that pack, Benny, and then he just jumped right out of line, so maybe a problem with the number 21.
Well, he was in 9th position, and that he was at the head of that pack, so now he is back in 12th spot as Kimmel takes over the 9th position. Less than 30 laps remaining here at Daytona. Andy Hillenberg is our leader. In case you're wondering about your favorite driver, maybe Tim Steele. He was involved in an accident in turn 1 on lap 12. Trying to avoid some cars in slower traffic. Tagged the outside wall. Had to call it a day. Blaze Alexander and Mark Thompson involved in an accident on lap 18 to bring out the second caution flag. So they've had to park it.
Start talking about the season-long points chase as they all run for the title in 1997. Tim Steele probably will be affected the least by dropping out of this race early because he is so strong throughout the year. Last year, of course, winning 11 times in 1996.
There see Rick Eckert following the 46 car Frank Kimmel. First time we've talked about him today, the 00 car. Pretty good draft with Shane Doles and Frank Kimmel.
Ben, he's being shown in 10th position is Eckert. He ran 4 Arca races last year, Michigan, and 3 races at Charlotte. Finished 8th at Charlotte, did Eckert in the 00.
This is an old Kenny Bernstein, the Quaker State car that he purchased there at the sale. We'll get back now to the leaders of the race, the Andy Hillenbergs, Mark Gibsons, and the 94 of Barfield.
And that second pack beginning to ease in somewhat on that first pack. There's the second pack, the car number 80 of Gary Bradbury leading Mark Stahl in the car number 32. And then the 52 car there is Bill Baird. We'll come back and see if that second pack can indeed catch the front threesome. Brought to you by Daytona USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction, and by Midas Auto Systems Experts, a better system for you and your car.
Wow. Wow. Ron Barfield tried to pass Mark Gibson for second spot. Right now, Barfield and Gibson are running 4th, 5th, and 6th. The whole group of cars blew by them while they were 2 by 2, and now Gary Bradbury in the 80 is right on the back bumper of Hillenberg.
Gary Bradbury driving a car from Stan Hoover Motorsports, just doing a favor to Hoover while his driver John Gill. Let's show you what happened a moment ago. Here's what Benny was talking about.
Well, here we see Barfield has gotten on the inside of the 59 car, and they just start losing ground to Hillenberg. You see, Hillenberg just isn't anywhere in the picture. They're coming off the second corner, and watch all of a sudden, here's going to come the 80 car and the entire train. There's Stahl in the 32. There's Baird in the 52. they all just blow by Barfield and 59 Gibson.
Well, it's like you put an anchor out when you get side by side there. You just throw out an anchor and the car just stops because you got a big wall of wind. You're both trying to push.
Uh-oh, it looks like Gibson might be just about on the edge of losing the draft.
Talking about the 59 car, Mark Gibson.
Gibson seems still pretty strong, though, Benny. Whenever the Barfield tried to make the move, his car was tough there, but you're right, he is dropping back a bit from that pack.
Mark has 119 Arca starts. There are the front 5. Gibson is the 6th car. He's just out on the right side of your screen. Hillenburg the leader. Bradbury in 2nd. Mark Stahl, his best run ever. In fact, he almost won this race a couple of years ago. Finished 7th here last year. He was in 3rd position. How about the rookie driver, BP in 4th spot?
Yes, Bill Baird doing a heck of a job. I had a nice little chat with him this morning. And I tell you what, business is really going to pick up here in a couple of laps because they're closing in on about 4 or 5 slower cars. And how in the world, how they get through that is going to be probably determine who wins this thing. There's a second group of cars. Looks like Dale Whittemore leading that bunch.
Danny Pardis also in that pack. Frank Kimmel is there.
Rick Eckert is there, and Shane Doles.
They're showing a lot of self-discipline to stay nose to tail. They want to be able to see that pack up front get side by side. And as you look at Frank Kimmel's roof cam, looking at it up ahead at the Jim and Judy Motorsports machine. 5th place, they are side by side. Once again, that is Gibson, and he will take the spot away from Ron Barfield.
And right in front of these cars, are closing fast on those slower cars. There's one of them. There's another one. Gary Limebrewer up there in front.
One around Jimmy McCune there in car number 88. He's a little bit off the pace today. We've seen him do really well at tracks like Michigan and Charlotte.
Well, they was able to get by the first 2 cars with no problem, and it looks like they're going to be able to get by the next 3 without a problem. So good. That's good news.
They go by Bill Flowers.
Out of the way. Good job.
All right, we're showing you these cars from the rear deck of the gravy train Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
After that yellow car, you got a whole straightaway ahead of you.
We're going to give you the interval. They were talking to Hillenburg, explaining to him when he gets by the car number 9, he'll have a whole straightaway of clean racetrack. Now, the 56 car is actually the 6th place machine, actually the 7th place car. And that's how far back he is. He is 9 seconds back. The 56 in the pack that he is running with, that is Bill Whittemore.
Now that the lead pack has cleared all that traffic, they might, and they've got about a straightaway before they catch any more traffic, they should be able to pull away from this group.
Less than 20 laps remain. History of this race, folks, it gets wild and woolly at the end. You don't want to go anywhere. We'll come back with more live action from Daytona. Stay with us. World Center of Racing, as we have the laps winding down, it'll be 15 to go next time by in the battle. They are door to door for 4th position.
Ron Barfield, the blue and white car on the inside of Bill Baird. But he just can't go on the inside. He tried that on Gibson before, 4 or 5 laps ago. Just can't go on the inside.
Well, these beautiful shots from high atop the World Center of Racing brought to you by the Bud One Airship, which reminds you that fresh beer tastes better. Budweiser Airship, blimp above the racetrack, giving you those perspective shots, showing you the distance between the front pack and the back packs. And these cars, not much room among any of them.
Well, if anybody had a doubt whether Bill Baird had a good race car, we just answered that, because Ron Barfield is a veteran on these super speedways, and Mark Gibson has finished as high as 2nd here at Daytona, and Baird is holding them off.
Bill Baird making his Arca start at Daytona after running ASA since 1994, and he will get a little lesson here from Barfield on the outside.
Barfield goes on the outside, says, I can't do it on the inside. Let me try the outside. He makes that work. Looks like he's going to make it work.
Barfield getting some drafting help from the 59 car of Gibson. Now, both the 94 and 59 have Ernie Elliott motors on board. The 52 car owned by Kenny Schrader. That's the car that won here a year ago with Jeff Purvis driving. Schrader bought it from James Finch and then actually sold the car this morning to this guy driving it today, Bill Baird.
Baird is Had to get off the throttle, come off the second corner on the inside, and looks like they might be able to drive away. He better hustle to try to get back in the lead draft.
Now, Gary Bradbury's been very patiently waiting there right behind Andy Hillenberg, and he's got a real good drafting partner with Mark Stahl.
Let's check and see if this second group is making any headway to the leaders. There we can see the Whittemore comes.
A moment ago, it was 9.06 seconds back to Dill Whittemore, so they have lost 3 seconds, Benny. So they, that front pack staying nose to tail helped them pull away a little bit.
Yes, it has. And Bill Barrett has closed back in on the back bumper, almost on the back bumper of Mark Gibson. There we see. Hey, Barfield said that works so well on the outside. I think I'll try it one more time.
Caution, we have trouble on the racetrack up in turn 4, right in front of the lead pack. They get wound down and just get by Mark Stahl, the car number 12 of Rick Shepard. His Oldsmobile has come to rest on the grassy area. It looks like he's taken quite a lick into the outside wall with the right side of that car. That will bring out caution for the 4th time today.
Rick Shepard from Mount Clemens, Michigan. Oh, darn it.
Talked with Rick this morning. He said he's only had 4 nights off since they left Atlanta back in November. They've been working really, really hard on this race car, and that's a tough finish for him today.
He really wanted to have a good run because his engine builder, Charlie Newby, is back home with a very ill wife, and they wanted to be able to have a good one and to be able to lift Charlie's spirits, but just wasn't to be.
See Rick moving around in the car, which is good news.
68, we have caution number 4 of the day here in the Arca 200.
Well, Benny, I guess that interval doesn't matter much right now. That 12 seconds kind of goes out the window as that field will get bunched back up.
Yeah, and now they're 12 car lengths behind. A little disgusted. He throws his gloves in the car.
Now, this happened right in front of the leaders, and he came across the racetrack, Benny, just within maybe a couple hundred yards of the lead pack coming right at him.
Rick, wait a minute. They'll give you a ride. Here we see the leaders coming off the corner, and there we see the cars side by side, and right in front of them the car is spinning. There we see the dust and the smoke, and in the 94 car, I guess the spotter told him that. In the drivers' meeting today, the ARC officials told them, look, you know, when the caution flag comes out, do not race back to the line. Do not race back to the line. And Barfield chose not to do that, and I appreciate that.
Benny, we are 3rd place car, maybe having a problem. How about it, Kyle?
Well, after the last restart, Mark Stahl radioed in and said, hey, my voltmeter here is on the negative side. Just a little past the negative side, not too bad. After this caution came out, he looked down and he said, okay, it's gone. I have nothing left. So they radioed to him and told him to start cutting his rear end pump, cutting off his transmission pump, cutting off anything he can cut off except the ignition, and try to save everything they've got for the last 10 laps. So that's pretty much where that stands. When the battery begins to go here and the ignition begins to go here, you'll see him drop like a piece of lead weight. Guys?
All right, Kyle. That's Kyle Petty in the pits down there, telling us the 32 car will watch him on the restart. If he doesn't have much juice, the car will sputter and miss when they wave the green. We'll show you that when we come back to Daytona after this.
Okay, guys, to work on your dunking skills, we've brought in the experts.
Now there's a great deal on McDonald's Chicken McNuggets.
I want to see some crisp passing.
Grab 6 while they're just 9 cents.
And then take it to the hole.
9 are only $1.59.
You called that a dunk? Easy, Grant.
Right now, 20 McNuggets are just $2.99. Perfect with America's favorite fries.
Watch my slam. Yes! That's a dunk.
McDonald's Chicken McNuggets, America's favorite way to dunk.
Go where you wanna go. Find the road you've never taken.
This is the tire that changed driving forever. The all-season Goodyear Aqua Tread with the advanced deep groove Aqua Channel that sweeps water away for serious traction in the wet, especially in braking. Goodyear Aqua Tread.
Serious freedom. Goodyear, Goodyear.
I know you're just a presenter this year, Joe, but we're up to me to be the Tories, not the ESPYs. Because, what, you were like in 1 million games before you made it to the World Series? You had to watch every one. I mean, my cap is off to you. I've been to like 3 games my entire life, and I know how long those were.
The ESPYs with Hootie and the Blowfish, Kerry Strug and Jeff Foxworthy. Tomorrow at 7, presented by General Motors and No Fear.
Try sitting through an award show sometime.
ESPN's unprecedented coverage of Speed Weeks 1997 continues today with the 34th running of the Arca 200. Kicking off 1997. We're under caution for the 4th time today, and a lot of strategy being played out now. Let's check in with one of the lead cars. Benny?
Yeah, let's check. Ron Barfield, this is Benny Parsons up at ESPN. You got me? We haven't tried this today. I don't know if it works. Ron Barfield, Benny Parsons, you read me? Don't guess he does. We were able to hear him a moment ago. We were with guys a while ago, but...
All right, there's Ron Barfield's car number 94, the New Holland Ford Thunderbird. He ran 9 Arca races a year ago, won the race at Michigan in June, finished 5th here at Daytona, driving the same car. Bill Elliott finished 13th with at Talladega back last July. Of course, Bill Elliott owns that car. And they got big plans for Barfield this year, Benny. They're going to put him in everything that moves. He's going to run, I think, 19 Busch races, 2 or 3 Arca, try to run Winston Cup at the Brickyard, and 15 Craftsman Truck Series events.
He's going to be a busy boy.
He said, Bill said you could have a half a day off on Christmas. Here's the field summary for where we are thus far. You see the cars that where your favorite driver is running. There are 16 cars on the lead lap.
All these cars have a chance to win this thing on the lead lap. There we see 16th is now a lap down. Just 3 cars, 1 lap down, 3 2 laps down, 4 3 laps down, and then the rest of the field.
Sort of deceptive. Ed Barrier a lap down. He happened to be making a pit stop. The kind of luck that young man's had in his career, making a pit stop when the caution came out. Well, we're going to have a shootout. And folks, historically, if you remember this race,
Not your motor.
In the final laps, it gets wild and woolly.
That's the 1 car.
That's what they came here for, Jerry.
Help us out. That's all right. And go, go, go. Green flag, green flag.
All right, that was Andy Hillenberg's
Stay
radio.
up there. That before he got a pretty decent start on him.
Lap 72, 8 to go. And there's essentially no interval, although Hillenberg is putting somewhat of a stretch between himself and Gary Bradbury. Look at Hillenberg stretching it out there by about 10 car lengths.
I'm not sure that's good, because if these cars get a run at him down the straightaway, they'll be able to blow right by him. He'd probably be better off if they were right on his tail.
Very good point, Benny. We've seen that those cars hook up in a freight train and come zipping right by a car that pulls away. There's the 80 of Bradbury, Mark Stahl, and the 32. You heard Kyle Finney talking about their meter on board was in the negative range and now wasn't even registering.
Ever see the 94? The 94 car takes over the 3rd spot. Mark Stahl dropping back, losing positions. He's back to about 6th already.
Here's Barfield making a move downstairs. Has drafting help from Mark Gibson. They line up behind Barfield, and they will zoom right past Bradbury.
The most steam out of all of them. You just keep your eye on him.
Looking out the rear deck of the Gravy Tane Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Barfield now in 2nd position.
And Barfield looks like he is coming. There we see, there's Bill Baird and Frank Kimmel. That's Mark Stahl. Frank Kimmel's on the inside of Stahl, and there's the 80 car of Bradbury.
Well, he was in 2nd about a half a lap ago.
Bill Whittemore in the car directly in front of Frank Kimmel.
Kimmel's finished 6th here twice, guys. I'm not so sure if he won't be able to better that today the way he's running.
There's Baird, the 52 car. That's 4th, 5th, 6th. They're riding along now with Frank Kimmel, the Advanced Auto Parts Chevrolet. The leaders up front, and you can see it from the roof cam. Looking over there at the 32 car. Mark Stahl, the leader, single file up in the front of this group with just 7 to go.
And there we see the battle back for about the 5th or 6th spot. Exactly the 5th spot. Wow.
Bill Whittemore, the 56 car on the inside. There's Bradbury, the 80 car. Then Kimmel is 46. That's the car you're riding with the roof cam. Mark Stahl to the right of him, the 32 car. That is 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th on your screen.
Kimmel now on the outside of number 56. Dill Whittemore taking, see, a little different line into the turns. He's been running on the low side, but now he goes to the top of Whittemore.
Oh, we got a car, blown engine coming off turn 2.
Dill Whittemore and the 33 car of Harris Devane. That is Devane, as the caution will come out for the 5th time.
So now they are racing back to the line. There may not be a restart. All bets are off now.
Barfield is 3 car lengths back of Hillenburg. Caution flag waves. They have told the drivers this may be it. 6 laps to go. They probably will get it restarted, but Barfield 2 car lengths, and that's the difference to the caution flag. 5th caution of the day. An erupted engine coming out of turn 2. Lap number 76. And this happened right in front of Harris Devane.
They received 33 of Harris Devane, Shane Doles in the 97, and buried in the 90 car. They're coming off the corner, and all of a sudden, whap! Dill Whittemore's engine goes south, and Shane Dole comes up and just bumps the 33 in the back a little bit, and neither one of them can see where they're going.
Did you see Devane's car come off the ground? The back of the car was on the nose on the apron. The back of the car was on the racetrack, and the left rear tire came off the asphalt. Watch
and he didn't spin.
The exact same thing happened here last year to Bob Hill, and he got upside down, rolled over violently.
Just watch.
Watch the left front. Now watch the left side. See the car off the ground.
The left rear is completely off the ground, and he did not spin. Great job by Harris Devane.
Great job by the peanut farmer from Georgia, but Dill Whittemore heads back to the garage area, having produced the 5th caution flag of the day. We'll come back for the shootout at Daytona after this.
There are 4 more laps to go. Let's hope we can get this back under green for at least a couple of laps. Well, coming up at the conclusion of our race here, NASCAR Shop Talk with host Alan Bestwick. His special guest will be old DW, Darrell Waltrip. An opportunity to hear what Darrell has on his mind for 1997 and a chance to buy some merchandise. Then later today at 4 o'clock, Dave Despain jumps into action with NASCAR Today. That's at 4 Eastern Time right here. Well, it's been an unbelievable race here this afternoon. I'll tell you what I'm most impressed with. In this Blaze Alexander crash that occurred quite a while ago, that happened at the front of the field, and it could have involved as many as 12 cars. A great job of driving by many of the ARCA drivers, and the same thing happened on this most recent caution. A lot of heads-up activity out there, and kudos to the 1997 ARCA class. Well, they're on the backstretch. We'll see if we get the 1 to go sign when they come around. Jerry?
Well, thank you, Bob Jenkins. That's Bob Jenkins, our host. We got Kyle Petty and Bill Weber in the pits, Ray Dunlap, Benny Parsons, and yours truly, Jerry Punch. On our live coverage of Speedweek's 1997 continues with today's coverage of the 34th running of the ARCA 200. Benny, there'll be 3 laps to go when they get back. 15 cars in the lead lap, and they're all going to be right there nose to tail. Ron Barfield drives for that guy right there in the middle. Bill Elliott, that's Ernie Elliott, who built Barfield's motor. He also built Mark Gibson's engine. And, of course, Mike Beam on the left side of your screen is the crew chief for Bill Elliott, as they are atop the car haulers down in the garage, watching and waiting for the Elliott protege, see if he can pull off what would be the biggest win of his career.
Guy's trying to think, now, what can I tell that boy that would get him to the front? Let me see. Have I ever been in this kind of situation before? I don't guess so. I guess he's on his own, basically.
I can imagine Bill probably just says something simple like, don't wreck.
Yeah, that's about
Since
it.
I own that race car. They'll have, they're going to give him 1 to go this time by, so I think we're going to get a 2-lap shootout. There's a look inside of Andy Hillenburg's car, the 1995 winner of this race. He went on to win the series championship. There is Frank Kimmel driving the Advanced Auto Parts car for Larry Clement, Chevrolet Monte Carlo that Bob Hill drove a year ago. And Danny Pardis's car, the Jim and Judy Motorsports machine. His first ever race in ARCA at Daytona after coming from the Goodies Dash Series, running in 9th position.
The sponsor on Danny Pardis's car, Jerry, is called Midwest Transit. You know what they do, Benny? They haul the mail. We'll see if Danny Pardis is able to do that when the green comes back out.
All right, we'll see what they can do. 15 cars are on the lead lap. Hank Wetzel gave them the signal 1 lap, and we'll be under green. Great afternoon for racing here. If you just joined us, there have been 5 caution flags. Take a look at winners from the pole. The guy standing beside me, Benny Parsons, did it back in 1969. Benny, you'd only been here 4 years, and you were already a winner here at Daytona.
Actually, that was my 3rd time here in Daytona.
Oh, pardon me, sir.
I had to miss a couple of years because I was broke.
Oh, okay. Well, 3rd time here. Jeff Purvis the last time back in 1993 driving for James Finch, and that's exactly who Andy Hillenburg is driving for.
Pace car's about half straight away ahead. My scanner ain't working. I can't get the channel. Info.
Good time to find out their scanner's not working for their spotters, and with just a couple laps to go.
What's up with Hillenburg? He's letting the pace car outrun him.
Yeah, he has got them really, really slow down the backstretch. It's they're just creeping along.
He must be going to start about the 3rd turn.
He must be going to get a run and start back there. Some of the cars. Now, the first car on that's a lap down is the car number 90 of Ed Barrier. He is the white car on the inside.
There's a couple of Fords behind the Chevrolet. I don't know if in Arca division that manufacturers care too much about, but I guess that the Chevrolet folks would like to beat those Fords or vice versa.
Well, sure they would, Benny.
Like to beat that Chevrolet.
Absolutely. And the last 5 races here at Daytona have been won by a Chevrolet, so I'm sure they'd like to put one of those blue and white Fords in there.
Got a couple of Fords back there, 94, 59.
And both those cars have Ernie Elliott motors on board. Barfield a winner at Michigan, but the 59 car after 119 starts, if there are people in Daytona know that that Mark Gibson would love to win one. There's Johnny Allen, who is the crew chief, longtime crew chief with James Finch.
I don't understand what, I mean, Hillenburg must be going nailing about. He's trying to get a jump on these guys, or I don't know exactly what to do, but anyway, here they come.
Maybe it's an old sprint car restart. A little bit of smoke back in the pack. A couple of cars that get together, but just some sheet metal, a little puff of smoke. It's going to be a shootout. Hillenburg does not get away. It is Hillenburg, Barfield, Gibson, and Baird in that order in the top 4.
It's oil drive. That's not smoke out of these cars. That's the oil drive that the cleanup crew has put on the racetrack because of Whittemore's blown engine. You'll see more oil dry coming up.
Front 4 cars pulling away from Gary Bradbury in the car number 80. Bradbury and Mark Stahl back there, 80 and 32. But these guys are going to try to settle it among themselves. And white flag this time by for Andy Hillenburg. There's that second pack, the car number 32.
Mark Stahl running in 6th spot.
Frank Kimmel is 7th.
So Hillenburg brought a 2nd victory for Kenny Schrader in 1995, and this year he just may do the same thing for James Finch if he can hold on to win it here. 1 lap to go, and here comes Barfield.
All right, Barfield and Gibson. Ron Barfield in the 94, Gibson the 59. Barfield driving for Elliott. Both have Ernie Elliott motors in. It's a Chevrolet and 2 Fords.
Barfield is backed up. He is trying his best to get a run on the 1 car. He does have a run. But Hillenburg is trying his best to block him, and he might just have done that. If Barfield had to back off the gas, he will never get the momentum back going again.
Separation is 2 car lengths in turn 4. Final lap of the 34th Arca 200. Crew chief talking to Hillenburg, said, hang on, buddy. Bottom of the racetrack, and Hillenburg will win it. Barfield 2nd, Gibson 3rd, and the rookie Baird finishes 4th with Mark in 5th position. And so James Finch wins back-to-back Arca 200 as an owner. Andy Hillenburg gets his 2nd win in Daytona in 3 years. And Kyle Petty is the celebrating crew chief. Kyle?
John, wait a minute, he's talking to radio right now. I tell you what, these guys were so excited. Johnny, congratulations, man. I've run into you twice this winter because I've been hauling my Daytona cars to get them fixed, and you've been hauling yours to get them fixed. It paid off for you.
Yes, it did. You know, this is a car you seen us up there with that day, and Andy done a heck of a job for us up there with it.
All them weekends that you worked all winter long on Saturdays and all days on Sundays and missed all those football games. Andy did an incredible job today.
But ain't it fun?
It didn't seem like fun then, but it seems like a lot of fun now, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. The Phoenix Gravy Train Chevrolet run really great today, and Andy done a heck of a job. All the Phoenix guys did. Even the Phoenix construction guys that work on the construction team, we all done a heck of a job.
Congratulations to you and James Finch and the whole crowd, man.
All right, Johnny Allen gets a big hug. He'll be headed to victory lane as crew chief for Andy Hillenburg and James Finch. And we'll talk to Andy Hillenburg when we come back after this.
Hey, pick on someone your own size.
The Star Wars trilogy is back on the big screen, and it's even better with a Pepsi.
Great effects, man.
Yeah.
In South Dallas, a lot of folks like to work on their cars, and a lot of them come to AutoZone. They save money on top quality parts, and they find helpful people, like Rocky Brown. Oh, sure, there are other parts stores in town, but Rocky's the kind of guy folks go out of their way to see. He's good at solving problems, and he really knows his parts. You see, when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Let me tell you something about the sport, NASCAR. When the season gets over in November, your first thoughts are Daytona, February. We put probably more hours into just that one race than you do 10 other races put together. I can't wait to get here, can't wait to get started. I can't wait to get to that finish line. I get pumped up just talking about it.
Our Speed World coverage of the 34th annual Arca 200 from Daytona International Speedway has been brought to you by Texaco, Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Take it to the star. And by the more than 1,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Well, 33-year-old Andy Hillenburg about to climb out. Let's go down to victory lane.
And Andy Hillenburg climbs from the car, gets a kiss from his wife, a handshake from his crew, and a big, big smile. Andy, congratulations. I said at the beginning of our show, it's been a picture-perfect week for you, and it's a picture-perfect ending.
Yeah, it is. I tell you what, you just there's no place better than victory lane at Daytona, and you know, just as my buddy always says, a Cinderella story from Indianapolis, Indiana. And boy, I got to thank Gravy Train for getting me here to Daytona, and James Finch and Johnny Allen, all the boys. Diesel, Dan wanted me to mention him. I can't mention them all, but they're the ones that put me in victory lane. So I got to thank all those people, Ruan, and say hi to all the people back at Fast Track Driving School. We got school going on today at Charlotte. And
well, you schooled a lot of guys today, because you had some guys behind you that didn't want you here in victory lane, and they were looking to team up on you.
Well, I tell you what, they showed they showed how the day was going to be there on that lap 1 start when I got shuffled back to 7th and 8th, and I said, okay, this is the way where boys are playing today, I guess. And boy, I'm so happy, I don't know what to say.
Well, you won from the pole here at Daytona. You fought so hard to get in positions like this. You've won the series championship. Now you've won twice here at Daytona.
I've never went into the race as a favorite, Bill, in my whole life, and I don't know. I just don't know what to say. I'm so happy.
I do. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, that's what it's all about, the emotion of victory lane. There's Andy with his wife, Michelle, and 2 children in victory lane. Tears of joy. Andy Hillenburg has won the Arca 200. We'll come in right back.
Hi. Sorry.
Fall in love with the family dog.
I hope that little bitch gives you rabies. Not another fight.
What do people think of him?
Wally Sparks? I tell you what I think about Wally Sparks.
What do I think about Wally Sparks?
Wally Sparks is still on TV. He has been. He's a never was. He's a wannabe.
I think men like that should be locked up.
He's not offensive, no. He's just a wild guy. Well, that's it, folks. I'll see you Monday, when our topic will be sex after 10 years of marriage. Should the wife know about it? It's got funny one-liners.
I don't believe in casual sex.
Hey, it won't be casual. I'll keep my tie on. Physical comedy. And and crazy situations.
Police, sir.
Oh! We were lucky to have so many celebrity cameos, you know.
Hello, Wally. Good to see you. You know what this is?
Yeah, a healthy girl laying on her back. I guess they thought the script was funny and they wanted to be a part of it.
Wally Sparks.
Where you call home.
It was so ugly, I took her to the beach. They wanted to know what I used for bait.
Hey, Wally, I went out with a girl last night, and boy, was she ugly. Well, go ahead. How ugly, huh?
She went to the plastic surgeon. He added a tail.
You're right.
He's always going too far.
Hey, you two should find a room.
But it's vintage, Rodney.
Hillenburg takes the victory, his third career win and second on the super speedway. Ron Barfield finishes in second spot. Driving for Bill Elliott, Mark Gibson third, Bill Baird fourth, Mark Stahl finishing fifth.
Frank Kimmel ties his finishing record with another sixth, and Bradbury, Eckert, Pardis, and Shane Doles gets a top 10.
This is the Big D, and I don't mean Dallas.
Today on the Deuce, 3 important qualifying sessions, the second and final round of NASCAR Winston Cup. The Busch Grand National cars and stars practiced late yesterday and this morning and now prepare for their all-important qualifying session. And the compacts are ready for their timed runs. 51 four-cylinder machines will be pared down for Friday's Discount Auto Parts 200. Get your stopwatches ready, sit back, and relax. ESPN2's continuous, unprecedented coverage of activity surrounding Speed Weeks 97 continues today with a whole bunch of qualifying. Second round Winston Cup, and then qualifying for the Busch and the Goodies Dash Series. Those rain showers have moved out, and Bill Weber, it's almost a perfect day for qualifying.
It certainly is, Bob Jenkins, and I'll tell you what, the weather yesterday really threw some of these teams for a loop. They didn't get any Winston Cup action on the track here yesterday. And today, another curveball from the weatherman. It is cool, it is crisp, partly cloudy. The wind would be a tailwind down the front stretch through the tri-oval, but a headwind on the backstretch. I'm not sure that's ideal conditions. A lot of guys had to think twice. Are we going to requalify, or should we stand on our time? The weather definitely a factor. The result, a list of 13 cars that will attempt a second round qualifying run. And this is the only time you're going to get to improve your original qualifying time. Just 2 rounds this year instead of 3 because of the weather. Among the guys deep in the field that are not going to make a second run, Ward Burton and his brother Jeff Burton, Johnny Benson and Mike Wallace all had poor qualifying times and now will be forced to race their way into the field when the Twin 125s come around. Here's Jeremy Mayfield, who's just walked out here on the grid, and we don't have any cars, but at least we got a driver. You're going to try and go again.
Yeah, we are, and the car's on its way here, so we're going to be the first ones out, and just hope we can get this Kmart RC Cola a little bit faster than what it was the other day, that's for sure.
Any changes?
Yeah, we swapped motors, and we don't know right now if it's better or not. We'll know here in a few minutes.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
And that motor swapping story is just one of several big stories down here today. Now, among the cars that are supposed to go second round, Joe Nemechek, his car doing a motor change right now, but on the other side in the Busch garage, he was the fastest guy in second round Busch practice. That was earlier today. This will be a very exciting and for some teams very tense afternoon at the Daytona International Speedway. For more, let's go back to the garage and my colleague, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Bill. The story we've been following here for the last couple of days has been to the total reconstruction of the 1997 Ford Thunderbird of Billy Standridge. This car now being rolled out of the garage area as they get the car toward inspection. What happened back on Saturday afternoon? We'll turn back the clock and show you qualifying. Standridge in turns 1 and 2. The sway bar breaks on his Ford Thunderbird, cuts the right rear tire, and that car goes slamming into the wall. Look, the nose has been reconstructed. The back of the car has been reassembled. And so Billy Standridge and his crew have got to be very, very excited about the fact that they're going to get to go back on the racetrack. Billy, you've got to be so proud of these 7 guys, we nicknamed them the Magnificent 7, who have reassembled this car without any sleep since Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I tell you, they're one heck of a bunch of boys. You know, they've really worked hard.
they're dedicated, and but that's what it takes to do these kind of races.
Now, before the car was wrecked, you had a good first lap, but people are saying, well, why don't you just sit on your time? But NASCAR rules dictate that once the car leaves the garage, that first lap no longer counts. You have to go back out and qualify all over again.
Yeah, what happens, it's virtually like just bringing in a new car. They don't care that the car is once here. Once it leaves, everything goes away, even my old time and everything.
And talk about how good your crew is. Tell us what the car ran before and just a moment ago in the final practice.
We run, in the final practice the other day before qualifying, we run a 48.46, and we run a 48.51 just a few minutes ago.
All right, so that's only about 0.005 of a second difference between the car when it was brand new and the car with primer and Bondo and no paint on the backside. Congratulations on you guys and your crew getting this car put together.
All right, well, thank you, Jerry.
All right, Billy Standards will go to get in line for qualifying. Of course, we want to talk about some of the other stories involving here as far as some loaners being going on, some of the engines being loaned to people down in the garage here. You heard Bill Weber say some guys will requalify. Well, one of the stories involving loaner engines involves the pole car right here of Mike Skinner. The car, of course, owned by Richard Childress. Now, what happened is, you have friends in this business, and no matter how much you want to beat people, competition is important, but so is loyalty. So the engine that sat on the pole in this car has been loaned to Dave Marcus in the car number 71, who will drive that car, in qualifying. Also, Childress has loaned a motor out of the 3 car, the Dale Earnhardt car, to David Green, who's running for Rookie of the Year. Why? Because Green was there last year when they needed a relief driver for Earnhardt, and also Kirk Shelmerdine is the crew chief, longtime friend of Richard Childress. Other engines being loaned, Rusty Wallace is car number 2. They've loaned a motor to Jeremy Mayfield for the car number 37. And as we told you yesterday, Brett Bodine has leased the entire engine package that qualified 5th for Bobby Hillen. Just some of the stories that are going on here in the garage area. And Bill, Dave Marcus has got to be awfully excited about having the pole-winning motor in his Chevrolet.
Dave Marcus is one of the most respected men in the Winston Cup garage area. You work extremely hard, and you often get rewarded for that. You obviously have here.
Well, I believe we have. I mean, Richard Childress came by and said, hey, we're taking that engine out of Mike's car. NASCAR's inspecting it. As soon as they're done, it's going in your car. He said, get yours out. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, his guys, his team, even on Mike Skinner's team, they come over there and help. One of Mike's guys came over and was helping us do some aero stuff on the car and found that we had our spoiler a little too high in the deck lid. So we got to move that too. So that's a help too. So, I mean, it's great.
Have you been able to get out on the track with that package?
Yes, we ran 1 lap this morning with everything cold, and we ran about 4 or 5 tenths better than what we had the other day. And, of course, not a lot of practice this morning, and when practice ended, only a half-an-hour break from the end of practice to qualifying, so we couldn't practice too long, but we feel like probably today we can run a 48-10 or a 20, something like that, and I think that'll make the show if you do have problems in the 125.
Good luck, Dave.
Thank you.
Now up to the booth to Bob Jenkins and Benny Parsons.
What a difference a day makes. Bright sunshine, nice weather here today, unlike yesterday. Now, I know the weather was bad for the drivers, but for you people at home, this is going to be a great afternoon. 3 different qualifying sessions, 3 different series. May be good for the fans at home, but for the drivers, maybe a little bit of pressure.
Those guys are so nervous down there, especially those guys trying to qualify, those 13 fellas. They really need to pick their speed up. They're not qualifying for the Daytona 500. They're simply qualifying for the qualifying race, which will be run on Thursday afternoon. But if you have trouble in that qualifying race, then you have to fall back on revert to your qualifying speed. They'll take 8 cars from their qualifying speed, and you see there's the first 15 cars. Those cars solidly in the field. Then we go to the 30th place. Now these 2 cars, Sterling Marlin, Kenny Schrader, they'll requalify. They are afraid that if they have to revert back to that speed, it will not make it in the field. We see Kyle Petty's going to requalify. Standridge, Lake Speed, Mayfield, Shepard, Pearson, Musgrave, Bodine, all those cars going to requalify, trying to establish a faster speed to fall back on. Also, David Green, Dave Marcus, and Joe Nemechek did not even get a qualifying speed on Saturday.
Well, the first car to attempt a second-round qualifying is out there. It is Jeremy Mayfield that we talked with just a few minutes ago, and he has a loaned engine in that car. We'll see if he can pick up the speed from his effort on Saturday. Jeremy Mayfield qualified at 186.112, 38th quick on first round.
38th quick. And last year, you know, there are 4 provisionals available, and that's based on last year's point standings. And the 37 car finished where in points?
35th.
35th. So they're afraid that a lot of the cars between them and the front will be needing those positions, and they'll not have one available to them.
That completes lap number 1 for Jeremy Mayfield. Again, it'll be 2 laps of qualifying, and the second lap will undoubtedly be the faster because the engines are getting revved up about then. Currently 39th, Benny, on that first lap. 48.242, 186.559.
But that is about a quarter of a second faster than his first lap on Saturday afternoon, so it looks like he may have a good lap going.
Let's go down to the pit area. Jerry.
Guys, we mentioned David Green, who qualified 47th on Saturday and borrowed a motor from Dale Earnhardt. The motor, he qualified 10th. But, David, that's good news. But the bad news is the car didn't pick up much in practice.
That's true, Jerry. It hadn't responded. But, you know, Richard Childress' guys are over there trying to fine-tune that thing for all it's got. And we appreciate that opportunity because this is going to give us some knowledge now where exactly our problem is. So thanks to some good buddies like Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt. But we're going to go out there and give it one more shot. And after that, we'll just get geared up for the 125s.
All right, the car body may not be good enough for the engine to be able to help, so that's what you needed to know, though.
Well, exactly. And, you know, here at Daytona with the restrictor plates and the wind and all that, you never know what to fix and what to bend here and there. But at least this way, we know we've got a good top 10 engine underneath this hood, and we'll see what happens today.
All right, good luck to you, David. Jeremy Mayfield completing his qualifying run, guys.
And a very, very good lap. 48.016, 187.438 miles per hour. That's almost 35 hundredths of a second faster than he qualified on Saturday, and puts him where, Bob?
It's the 19th fastest run overall in qualifying, considering first round. Back with more in a moment. At Daytona. There is Jeremy Mayfield, second round speed. It's 187.438, and that is 19th fastest overall.
And once again, that's all the qualifiers. We'll insert these cars in there and show you where they're going to stack up. He will start 39th. The graphic you saw just before we went to break. He will start 39th in the qualifying races unless someone else comes in and beats him, and then he would start 40th because all the cars that don't requalify will start in front of these fellas.
That's correct.
Hope we haven't confused anybody.
All right, Dave Marcus now on the racetrack. Let's see what he did in first round. His best lap was a 48.609, 185.151. That was his best lap, his second. And so we will compare the first and second laps for Dave today. Let's go to Jerry again.
Well, Jeremy, 0.3 of a second faster at 48.016 seconds. How much of that was the motor you borrowed?
Man, a lot. I tell you, we'd already done everything we knew how to do to make the car go fast. And, yeah, I can't say enough about the Penske group over there. Rusty and all those guys helped us out. Didn't really have to do it. They did it. And I think that's fast enough to get us in a race and something happens on Thursday. But we're real happy with the time we had just then.
Now can you take a deep breath that you've gotten the speed up a little bit? You can go out there in that qualifier and maybe use your head. And some of the guys thinking they're going to have to be a little risky out there.
Yeah, that was the situation we were worried about, especially when you're 35th in points and some of these guys don't have any points. And it was going to make it Thursday pretty interesting. But now we can kind of sit back and relax a little bit. And if we do run bad or get in a wreck, at least we got something to back us up here.
All right, go to Kmart, have an RC, and relax. Jeremy Mayfield picks it up by 0.3 of a second, guys.
And Dave Marcus is faster than he qualified at Saturday.
Yes, he ran 48.820 on his first lap Saturday. First lap here, 48.519, so 0.3 of a second. Takes the checkered flag. And we'll see where that will, how much he picked up. 48.303 on today's lap. And that was about 0.3 of a second. 48.303, 186.324 miles per hour. And where would that stack him up?
And that, according to my calculations, puts him 35th fastest. But he did pick it up from Saturday. So Dave Marcus has qualified for the second time in second round. And now we get set for our next qualifier. But let's go to Sterling Marlin first, who's with Bill Weber.
And Sterling, 28th in the first round. Have you improved your qualifying package?
Yeah, we found a bunch of things wrong. I think if nothing goes wrong, we run about a 70 or 80, somewhere right in there, and get ready to race. You know, we didn't really do the full-blown qualifying deal, but just wanted to, you know, come out and lay a pretty good lap down and see what we got.
A lot of guys in front of you obviously stood, and so did some guys behind you. Why did you decide to go again?
Well, we just wanted to, kind of got our feelings hurt first stage, so I want to run a good lap.
Okay, good luck. It's not just a matter of speed down here. Sometimes it's personal pride on the line, guys.
And that's exactly right. He said that if they ran a 47, he's talking about a 47.80, that would put him somewhere around the top 10 fastest cars.
Well, Ken Schrader has gone on to the racetrack in the Skoal Bandit car number 33. On Saturday, he could muster a 48.238, best lap 186.575. That was 29th fastest after first round.
And the concern that they have, Andy Petrie and Kenny Schrader, they were 29th last year in owner points, and that's the taking provisionals. They're just afraid that 4 cars in front of them would have to use a provisional, so they want a faster speed to fall back on. Folks, this is the most nerve-wracking day in the history of mankind.
Well, Kenny is way up against the wall there in the third turn, getting his car up to speed as quickly as he can, and now he comes down and takes the checkered flag and begins his 2-lap qualifying run.
It's a green flag, Bob.
Oh, what'd I say?
Checkered.
Did I really?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see where Dave Marcus fits in the overall speed chart. And it was 32nd with a 186.324. And Jerry is with Dave Marcus.
Well, Dave, borrowing that motor from Skinner, 48.303, you picked up 0.3 of a second. It put you 32nd overall in speed.
Well, you know, we were hoping for a little bit better, but I mean, that's certainly an improvement. 0.3 more to work on if you have to fall back on a time to make the race. But, you know, I just want to thank Richard Childress and all Mike Skinner's guys. They came over and helped us, took the engine out of Mike's car. I mean, it's great to have friends here like that. I mean, it really means a lot.
Now, what will you do on 125 qualifying day? Will you use this motor? Will you borrow another RC motor? I mean, you're going for a 30th consecutive start to Daytona 500.
I'll leave that up to Richard. Whatever he decides is best for us to do, that's what we'll do. I don't know if that'll be this engine or a different one.
Dave, good luck to you.
Thank you.
A lot at stake for Dave Marcus. What about that history? 30 years in a row, if he makes it here, he's been in the Daytona 500.
Kenny Schrader has picked up his speed from his first lap on Saturday.
Yes, he did. First lap Saturday was a 48.54. Today, 48.32. That's about a quarter of a second faster. If he could continue that, he would pick up, go to about 48 flat, and that would put him about 20th overall. Maybe even a little bit better than that. Here he comes, checkered flag in the air.
There's the checkered flag, and Schrader has completed his run. 186.258 on lap number 1, and the second lap is 48.069, 187.231.
And that picked him up considerably. He was 29th fastest, and he would start now 40th in the qualifying races.
And that puts him, I think, 23rd fastest, right behind Jeff Gordon. So a good run for Kenny Schrader. He's improved and is in pretty good shape now. The 125s and the Daytona 500.
And his knight, Bobby Hamilton, join us live in the studio to talk about the upcoming season and the new look here at Daytona. Plus, a couple of drivers who changed rides this year also make a live appearance as Kenny Schrader and Ricky Craven stop by. Tonight, 7 Eastern, RPM tonight, only on ESPN2.
Sounds like a deal to me. Petty, Hamilton, Schrader, and Craven, and I am told another very special guest may drop in tonight. That would be Dr. Jerry Punch. So be tuned at 7 o'clock tonight here on The Deuce for RPM tonight. Well, here is Sterling Marlin, the 2-time winner of the Daytona 500, set for second round qualifying Saturday. Best lap 48.233, 186.594.
And his first lap about 48.50. Here he comes off the corner, coming down for the white flag to complete that first lap. And we'll see if he's faster today. So far, all the cars that have qualified have been 0.3 of a second faster than they ran on Saturday.
First lap for Sterling Martin is a 48.534, 185.437.
Uh-oh.
A little slower,
That's
huh?
a little slower than he actually ran on Saturday.
So he did not pick it up now.
So whatever they're doing in their qualifying package is not working. They feel like they're going on 47.70 and ran 48.50. Now he might pick it up, but he's still going to be at least a half second slower than he anticipated on running.
One of the big questions all month for this team has been what's wrong with the Runt Pittman motor, because normally, especially on a restricted track, it is fast, but that has not been the case for Sterling Marlin here in 1997. Second lap time and speed report coming in for Marlin. It's a 48.289, 186.378.
He actually slowed down a little bit from Saturday's time. 186.378 today and 186.594 on Saturday. But you know, it could not possibly the engine be the problem. Might be the aero package, something, just a fender or a front bumper, something, the windshield, anything could change just a little bit.
Jerry Punch is standing by with Ken Schrader.
Well, two of the guys will be on RPM tonight. Kenny, you and I. Of course, I'm not requalifying. You are. Not a bad effort for you. 48.069, 187.231. Pick up about 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, well, we really needed it. You know, we were 29th overall, and I think maybe we'll wind up 24th or 5th now. And it seems like 26th is that safe cutoff place. So that's what Elmo always told us, at least. And so we need to get up in the qualifying list.
Is there more left in the car, or do you feel comfortable now that you can sit there in the qualifying race and basically just work on what's going to happen next Sunday?
Believe me, I'm ready to get a race set up under it. What they're doing for qualifying, what all the cars are doing, not a whole lot of fun. So we're ready to get the qualifying set up, or race set up under it, and see what we got.
All right, Kenny, thanks a lot. Schrader, 23rd overall in qualifying. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Ted Musgrave was 44th on Saturday. Not your favorite number.
Maybe knock one of the fours off and it'd be all right, but you know, like I say, I don't know what happened yesterday. We just couldn't get going. Don't look like we're getting a lot better, but we did improve somewhat today. And the thing I'm worried about, every now and then we get a good gust of wind, just one good gust of wind down the backstretch, and it'll be all for nothing. But I'm going to go down swinging.
You just said your time this morning, you're not really sure how good it was because of all the traffic on the track and the weather conditions.
Yeah, a lot of traffic out there, like I say, and the wind dies down, then it picks up. And you know, where we're at, we got nothing to lose. Like I say, heck, we got to go try something. You know, I just don't want to sit in the garage and say, boy, I wish we would have done it.
You guys raced real good last year, but a similar situation in qualifying.
Same thing. You know, the car ran real good in the Clash, you know, real good in practice. But like I say, when it comes to qualifying, we just can't get going. But we don't qualify during the 500.
Good luck.
All right, Lake Speed is on the racetrack, and he was the fastest second-round qualifier last year here at Daytona. Let's take a look at the fastest overall now from 16 on, reflecting today's qualifiers. Now, this does not indicate the lineup, how they will line up for the 125. This is the list they will use if they have to go back and check the qualifying speeds.
They're exactly right. We see Mayfield and Schrader have requalified today, and we go back. We got to go back to 32nd to find Sterling Marlin in 34th. Now Marcus has been dropped back to 34th. Fastest overall. These are overall speeds.
Sterling Marlin was 28th after Saturday's qualifying round, but he dropped back because he was slower today. Let's see what Lake Speed can do. Lake Speed on Saturday.
First lap was 48.60 on Saturday, 48.60 seconds. We'll see if he's able to go a little bit faster.
He ran a 48.309 second lap, best lap on Saturday.
Wow. Wow. Did he pick up on the, look at this on the first lap, 48.099, 187.114 miles per hour, and he has another lap to go.
Wow, that is really picking it up. So Lake Speed has a good run going here in the Harry Melling entry. This was Saturday's qualifying speed for him, 35th fastest.
And Mayfield was 48.016. That's quickest today. Lake Speed, as you said, last year was second round fastest. Might be again to this 1997.
And he's even faster on lap number 2. 47.831, 188.162.
Wow. He picked it up from a 48.28 to a 47.83. So about 0.4 of a second, this 9 car was faster on him.
Wow, he is 10th fastest overall. 10th fastest overall for Lake Speed. A good run in second round qualifying.
Have you lost your groove? Your attitude?
And put you in the seat for a closer look at the NASCAR Winston Cup cars. Chevy Monte Carlo, Ford Thunderbird, Pontiac Grand Prix. These are the pride of Detroit in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Open the stable and let out the 358 cubic inch engines, and you have an excess of 725 horsepower, pushing 200 miles an hour. So we pull in hard of the rain.